Welcome back to the Wheelers Podcast. Yeah, we are back in the place. Yeah, we in here with Dr. AE tonight. I hope you are going to enjoy yourself because we got a very good show for you tonight. I hope you enjoy it. Uh, but check this out. We're going to jump right into it though. This show is called New Discoveries Show. Current events, and of course we're going to do a book share. You know what I'm saying? So, sure, it's going to be a little bit personal. Um, it's going to have some elements that you're going to discover about me that you have never known. Um, First of all, we'll start off like this. I had jury duty. I'm sorry. First and foremost, hey, Doc, hey, go ahead and let you know you're in the room. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
good evening, good people. I'm with you
Yeah.
once again, brother.
Yes,
Let's
indeed. Yes,
uh
indeed.
let's
Yeah.
have another good dialogue.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. So anyway, I had to do that before I jumped into it. That's my guy, man. We've been on we've been on this joker since I started. We become very good friends. We have experienced a lot, shared a lot, been able to tap into each other's lives in a real way when it comes to knowing each other's family members and having a actual place in each other's lives. So I had to start it off because this is the new Discovery show. You know what I'm saying? So um, I have to share with you guys something that I've experienced. Um, Monday I had jury duty, and I was going through the motions, and you know, but the eeriness of being uh, in the courtroom, the same courtroom, knowing that when you have had run-ins with law enforcement and they have treated you unfairly, and there was a multitude of equations. This is back when it wasn't a whole lot of people in the place where I live. It wasn't a whole lot of diversity. It was some, but not. It was a lot of years ago. And now that this area has, I seen today so much the other day so much diversity, within the county that I do live in and where I live and the location and in America period, there is a great deal of diversity in people. And um, so being in the position that I was in, all I did was relive a few moments because I haven't really been in that place or in a courtroom in a very long time. So a lot of things physically caught me by surprise that I didn't know. It was new discoveries within myself to know that I did not like being in courtrooms. Nope. Don't like anything affiliated or associated with certain aspects simply because uh, this country has not totally held up justice in its entirety. And now it's peaking, it's showing, it's quite prevalent. Like, um, hey, E, I want you to add in on this next subject because I just want to have one people. I just wanted people to share. I just wanted to share with people about my experience and just like understanding what justice or non-justice is, even from a genetic perspective. Like I know that I was exonerated in that courtroom, but at the end of the day, there are entirely too many people that have to that look like me, melanated in this country. We have to go through entirely too many exonerations simply because people like disrespecting, downtrodden, feel like they want to bring somebody down to size, feel like you gotta let me traumatize you so that even at any time you come in here, you'll feel the way that person can feel, even me or any person that look like me, simply because justice is one thing, and the way they want things is another, and that's in some aspects in the way of being, that can be extremely traumatizing within itself. So They had the next event, the No Kings protest, which I feel that has some effect to it simply because the same people that are so passionate about that are being traumatized daily. Hey, you want to expound on that? I'm gonna let you add out. I'll add later, but I want you to get off on that. What you think about this whole No Kings protest?
Yeah, I think the entire process, right? The entire process when we're talking about particularly the criminal justice system,
Mm,
um, it has um, by design and intent, as well as by natural state of its cause and being, a dehumanizing effect, right?
absolutely,
And
I totally
so
agree.
when you go through a dehumanizing effect, it affects different people, different people, very different ways. Let's say it like that, right? And so, how that person reacts, you cannot, and I'd say the overall effects, rather. Let me get that straight. Let me get my thought process straight here. The overall effects you cannot predetermine, right? You don't know how it is going to affect someone, right? Um, in my own experiences, both of us have shared that with each other, and of course we've shared it with my book and discussing my book before, and my process with the criminal justice system and my incarceration and things of that nature, right? So I'm going to use what I know best, right, as the most prime examples. Um, one person can be thrown into a cell, right, or placed into a cell, and they can be placed into confinement. It doesn't have to be by punishment, right? You have what they call administrative confinement, protective custody, and then they have confinement for disciplinary action, right? But regardless to the type, it's still the same thing. It's one person in one cell 23 out of 24 hours of the day, right? And so what that does psychologically to people varies, right? And um, psychologists alike and people who've experienced it, which means sadly enough, I can attest to it as well, right? The first 30 days are the very hardest, right? Your first 30 days. And it's something psychologically that goes on. But after that 30th day, when you reach that 30th day, 30th, 31st day, you have a mental break in which your mind simply either accepts it or it has some damaging effect on it
Mm.
for those first 30 days. And psychologists can attest to this. And so what I'm saying is how a person handles that first 30 days varies. And what type of long-term effect it has after the 30 days, either way, whether they accept it or whether they are broken mentally, um, varies as well. And so, um, and I don't know, well, no, I will say what's worse, right? The one who cannot accept it is worse, right? I know someone personally who did not make the 30 days and they had to be institutionalized.
Mm.
And to this day, 20, 30 years later, as far as I know, I haven't been in contact with them in a while. They've still taking medication. And for a while, they were actually, when they were released, they didn't even go to prison. They were released um, from jail and not gone on to prison, they were homeless for a while because they psychologically could not maintain in society as a
Mm,
regular person or as a regular functioning person in this society.
mm,
They were actually homeless. They were destitute. They were rejecting the medicine, then taking the medicine, as we know people with mental illness often do. They were going through all of that. And it stemmed from the fact that they could not make those 30 days
mm,
in confinement. And so my point then is someone like me, right? The effect was the acceptance, right? And so I had gone through different processes, right? Even before the confinement. I had done house arrest where I had to stay in the house for 4 days straight, 5 days straight, never leaving my apartment. And so by the time I did do confinement, which I ended up doing on 3 separate occasions, uh, it got to the point where I had accepted it such that I wanted to be in my own cell. And when I got to even when I got to work release, I wanted my own room. And they, I had one for a minute, and then somebody came, and I displayed, you know, basically I didn't like it, and they were like, "Look, Dixon, this is not the hotel. You're not home yet. You can't just have your own room, man." You know, and so I'm saying that to say that that's two prime examples
mm,
of what happens. And so now you are a third, right?
mm,
Because your experience in incarceration, not in just confinement, but
mm,
incarceration itself is a mode of confinement, right? It has left you with not wanting to be associated in any shape, form, or fashion with that process. So you don't even want to do jury duty. You don't want to be in another courtroom. You don't want to be anywhere near it. You see what I'm saying? And
I
so
didn't.
that's the
I
that's
had to
the
find that out.
psychological,
Shit,
huh?
I had to find that shit out. Like
Right,
seriously,
but that's the
I
thing, right?
went through the
You
process.
don't know what these things are going to do until they actually arise, right?
Didn't
It
know.
wasn't until he had his psychotic episode, right? And then he was released and he continued to have
Woo.
psychotic episodes and could not
Damn.
function, right?
Yeah.
Me, I don't have a problem with living alone. I don't have a problem with
Good.
going days. As you know, I share custody with my son.
Yeah.
So I have him, I'm split right down the middle, 3 days, 4 days. So I go at least 3 days every week where I'm in this house by myself all day, every day.
Mm.
And it has absolutely no
No
effect on
effect on
me.
you whatsoever.
I am
Right.
used to it. I even had a friend years ago tell me, man, well, at least open the blinds. You don't even open your blinds. A female
Well,
friend was like, hey,
I'm like that too. We got to get to the next point.
okay, I'm
Hey,
sorry. So
that it. No, we good. We good. We just
I
got to get to the next
exacerbated
point.
that one. I took it a little too far, brother, but hey, come on to the next one. My bad, my
Yeah,
bad.
you are good. It's all good. But check it out. The one I wanted to get on first because you got to get on this one first. This is the No Kings protest. What you feel about the No Kings protest? This is New Discovery Show, current events, and we also gonna do some book shares tonight, maybe one or two. But anyway, because that's something I have to go with this, and I'm gonna go ahead and go and show you the book share that we will be doing tonight, and that will be doing, Dr. Jordan Groove, post traumatic slave syndrome, but also uh, post traumatic uh, slave syndrome is applicable to. I bet every damn American in this country right now. So anyway, No Kings protest. What you feel, Dr. A.E.? Gonna get
I
your
got
good share
mixed
of this.
feelings on the no. I got mixed feelings on the No King protest. I got real
Share them.
mixed feelings.
Me too.
I got real
Me
mixed
too. So I
feelings.
just go
Um,
first. You go ahead, because I got my mixed feelings. This is why I'm sharing post-traumatic slave syndrome by the amazing Dr. Georgia Grew. She's another doctor, just like Dr. A.G., Dr. A.E. PhD. But the American Legacy, Enduring Injury and Healing by Dr. Georgia Grew, by Randall Robinson. But before I even go into that, I just want Dr. A.E. to expand on the No Kings protest. God damn. Go ahead, Dr. A.E.
I got mixed feelings, like I just said a few seconds ago. On one, I empathize with people who did not vote for Trump and are um, expressing their displeasure with his presidency, and I empathize a little bit because they didn't vote for him rather, and not voting for him meant that they did know that he was capable and was going to do some of these things to begin with.
Yep.
But then, brother, I just got to call it like it is. I look at the television and I look at all of those people out there, right? And I know without a doubt, there is no doubt in my mind
Oh, yeah.
that many, not a couple, many of them out there voted for Trump simply because they were not going to vote for a black woman, right? And that they voted for Trump even though they really didn't want Trump or they knew Trump was capable of these things, but they had in their hearts and minds had to vote for Trump because Trump represented what they needed, which was the ability to keep the advantages of being white. And that voting against Trump
Mm-hmm.
would indicate the disposition thereof and the disposition of the advantages. So they voted for Trump simply A, because they weren't going to vote for a black woman, and B, they knew that Trump would their keep the ability for them to have their position, control, and advantages in this country. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about this is a post-traumatic slave syndrome again. Crimes against humanity. So we're going to dive a little deep into this because I know we have an expert that's going to do a good job of going to be able to expound about what I'm about to explain. Because the thing is, Dr. Joy DeGruy is phenomenal. She's world renowned. She's international. She does some knowledge just like this great brother here. She just got a little age on him, but they share the same sentiments when it comes to a lot of things. I'm quite sure. Also, I would like to add that it's a lot of Siberian natives, or I just Siberians. There's a lot of whites that wish they were Siberians because Siberians and whites are the same beings, and so that was the whole game because we were flanked. So you understand this country was just like Africa, the way it was done in South America. See, the Americas was too big to flank completely, so they had to kill us on paper. But let me tell you why they did these things, because this is extremely important when it comes to what they call progress and what you still there, Dr. A? I see you in dark. There you go.
Oh, I had some technical difficulties there, brother.
All right. Okay. Let me read. Let me see if you can go out, come back on. But I want you to expound on this. So
I cannot hear you.
go out and come back on. Oh man, I got to read this passage. Let me see. Let me see something I can do here. Let me see if I can do that. AE, you there? Dr. AE, are you there? Let me refresh my screen. I don't know if you're there. I can hear you breathing. You can hear me. I can't hear you. I can hear you. Let me read. I wanted to get this out the way for you guys. Me and Dr. E got some differences. I'm gonna mute him real quick. See if we can come back on. Check this out. Okay. Brutality exists. The unrelenting violence and harassment that we experience, both personally and vicariously through the media services, by dampening much of the hope much of the hope and anticipation that we will ever be full and equal participants in this land. While white people were less likely to call you nigger to face, or any less likely to think it. Black American males are still associated or accosted to police on a daily basis for no other reason than the color of their skin. How many Black American males do you know that have been stopped and harassed driving while black? Let me see if I can get that AE come on and come back on. Driving while black. In 1999, an investigation in New Jersey revealed, there we go, Dr. AE is back. We see him personally. All right, we are here.
Yes.
Yes, we are back. All right. So as I continue reading, how many Black American males do you know that have been stopped and harassed for driving while black? In 1999, an investigation in New Jersey revealed that black drivers on the New Jersey Turnpike were 5 times more likely than white drivers to be stopped by New Jersey State Police. Redlining still exists. There are still many areas in this country where black families are strongly discouraged by buying homes and renting apartments. Often militants won't even let black Americans know that homes are available. Other times, people who have places for rent will lie to callers who they believe are minorities. Disenfranchisement still exists. In 2000 presidential election, 57,704 Florida voters were vast majority of them black were denied the right to vote. For every election, Florida Secretary of State puts out a list of all Florida's felons called a purge or scrub list. Those on this list are removed from the voter rolls because they are felons who do not get the vote in Florida. It has been reported that the year 2000, 90.2% of those on the list were completely innocent of any crime. It also was reported that while the vast majority of those on the list were black Americans, only 2% of those names on the list were Hispanic. They might seem particularly strange given that Hispanics make up 16.8% of the total Florida population and blacks account for 14.6%. It actually isn't so strange when you realize that Hispanics are likely to vote Republican as they are to vote Democratic, while black typically overwhelmingly vote Democratic. By 2004 election, it seems like the Florida was at it again. The 2004 purge lists tens of thousands of names. The vast majority against were blacks, and at the time, only 62 were Hispanic, less than 1%. And like in the 2000s, most of them on the list were innocent of any crime. So that you see in Florida, even Republicans got in office. Look at Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has a history of doing a couple of things, and that's what I want to bring it up. He had informants that he was supposed to give exile or protect, and he said, "Fuck 'em." Wow, wow, that's Venezuela. That's his people that chose to fight against, and he threw them to the wolves. Can you please add, sir? Dr. AE, please add to this one.
Okay, two things though. I want to. What year publication is that you're reading from?
This publication year is, oh my goodness, this is an early publication. Let me get to the front. Let me show you. Yeah, it may be revamped, but this book right here, man, this is 20. It's still relevant, regardless. But 2005.
Yeah, I thought so. I want to make a point of clarification now that Florida felons can get their right to vote now. Um,
2005, but that was
yeah,
2005.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask you the year publication on that, just
Yeah.
so that our viewers know that and be updated that Florida felons can vote now. Now they do play with the process and
Hmm.
slow it down, but legally they do have the right to vote again now. And then the other thing, Rubio, uh, a lot of his it's funny. A lot of his constituency comes from Cuba because his parents
Yeah,
are
they Cuban.
Cuban.
Uh huh.
Um, and so what's funny is even Cubans allow this this separation between them. You know, um, and they allow classism
Oh yeah, for
to
sure.
permeate their community, particularly here in Florida and specifically, definitely where Rubio is from, which is in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's the idea that the people who came prior to 1980, right? Um, these are people prior to the Mariella boat lift, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, but these were people who were in cahoots with the U.S. mob. They were in cahoots with the U.S. government. They were in cahoots with Batista, the man in which the Cuban Revolution occurred against, right? Because Batista was
Okay.
allowing the United States to control a little over 60% of his natural resources. So Batista was a puppet dictator for the United States, and that's why they had the revolution.
Well, yeah, a lot of them.
And so
Mm-hmm.
those people are come from that idea of classism, right? And so um, then you have the people, of course, that they look down on, and those are the people that came in the 1980s when Castro said, "If you want to go, you can go," and he just sent boatloads of people to Miami, right?
Yeah, he did.
Uh,
Al Capone,
and
a
he,
lot of
but
gangsters.
see, that's the thing. We had this idea of classism, and I get to my point in just a second. The
Mm-hmm.
idea of classism within that, right, somehow implies that the people who came before that were better people because some of the people on the Mariella boat lift did come out of prison, right? He did open up the prisons and send them to,
He showed did,
right?
just like the
But
Europeans did.
these were poor people as well, right? Who wanted opportunities here in America, right?
Yeah,
Now the
history
funny
repeats
thing is,
itself.
again, when you look at it, and they have these classes ideas, they want to say that the people who came with Batista were better, but these were people who were selling out their own people for the
Damn right.
United States.
Yeah,
They
sure
were
was,
working
man.
with the mob.
Yep. Yep.
They were
That's what I'm saying.
right. They were basically having their own people as indentured servants and things of that nature. So what made you can't really say that they were better people just because they had more money. They weren't
They,
better character people.
I want to
So
add to that.
that's the mentality though, and what I want to get to is that's the mentality that Rubio has, right? When Rubio always, well not always, but oftentimes when he runs for reelection and whatnot, he always runs this campaign about his parents coming over from Cuba for a better life and that his father was a waiter. But the thing about it is, right, these pictures are from the 50s and 60s, which means his father,
Was white.
right, Oh yeah, was a much fairer skin. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is, his father also was with Batista. So that means your father
Was
agreed to
clicked up.
classism,
He was
and he
clicked
was
up.
part of the
He
problem
was
in
clicked up.
Cuba.
That's what it was. He was clicked up.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
part of the problem in Cuba.
Yeah. That's right. Straight up.
So now you got that same mentality, and that mentality is part of the problem in America.
And we have discussed this on several shows. Several shows
Mm-hmm.
about how not only was it the Batistas, but we're going to get into more of that. But we're going to get into now. What we have is this is the next uh, whip discussion moment. Uh, the government at hand today that we have today. So you see how uh, this is all about, again, the alignment
Mm-hmm.
with the dominant society, practicing every form of cognitive dissonance that can absolutely be even summoned in your brain. Also, denial of your indigenous heritage from meaning the place that you came from, whether that be South America, whether that be Lower Asia. You were all dark skinned indigenous people until you ran to Americas and got the same ideology that even my grandfather, white man, sold. White man soul, that was an Indian. Yeah, he was black, yeah, but he had a white man soul because he had long hair. He had that old mixed Siberian blood in him. You know, there was wars in the 11th, 12th, 13th, 1400 between Siberians, reds, blacks, and whites. Because Vikings were here. There were a whole lot of people here in the Americas. America's the old world. But when all of that hell started coming here and they started seeing the weakenings of the boundaries, the borders, and how effective the Siberians were, and here come the Spanish. See, they hit us from the whole flanks. The Siberians hit us first, early. And they lost. But here come their Spanish brethren, and they won. And the British and the French, the Spanish, the British, the Spanish, the French, the British, and next thing you know, here come the Germans, here come the Italians. And the Italians never wanted to fight a war or anything. All they love to do is trade and take. Trade and take. So all of these different mentalities of how, which was the North Star, which was the South. The North wanted everything the South had. And they said, I can take that easily because you motherfuckers are too happy and unserious. But in all actuality, they were too brutal and unreal. See, sometimes the reason why I feel like I went in that courtroom and I felt the way I felt, because it's unreal how they treat people. Shit is unreal. Unreal how you could even sit up in somebody else's nation and act as if everything is okay, as if you don't know history for real. Maybe you don't, maybe you do, but at the end of the day, we can't expect for Europeans to go anywhere because they're not, but they are. We know who they are. And some of them, you got to understand, some of them do have that native or black blood because that had that. And when they got black in them, you already know who their ancestors was. So the overtaking was not in nothing. And the only thing it was they called the New World. It was just a new color. The new color that made it a new world. It was not a new world. It was modernization. New color. That was the whole ideological state of the mind, was to rest on top of the people that they feel God told them they was supposed to be ahead of. And that was the biggest fallacy on the face of this planet, which turned everything upside down. So that leads us to the next point. the government at hand, which is what I said. Hey, could you expound, please, more on what I'm saying about how manifest destiny and all of these nuances that was not just America, but we talk about Polynesian people. We talk about Chinese people and let them have it. We talk about what they did to the Japanese and how the Japanese had a very affinitive relationship with the American Indian, the Amerindian. And these things are not discussed, but why were? But why is the government at hand the way it is today?
Well, it's, sadly enough, it is the hypocrisy has never ended. You know, the underlying thing that whites are going to do whatever they have to do to maintain their advantages because they've already equivalated their advantages and control with their survival, right? And so the hypocrisy that started at the very beginning, right, with this whole idea all men are created equal. What they had on the racism side, you had enslavement. On the classism side, you had indentured servants and what was uh, coming from Europe as what they outright call peasants, right?
Pure. Yeah,
And
straight
so
up.
that whole hypocrisy never ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see it even when enslavement ends, right?
Yep.
Women don't have the right to vote. Blacks are still
This shit.
treated with second class citizenship. So it takes another 100 years after the enslavement, from 1866 all the way to 1968. 65, 64, 65, we get the legislation, but 68 is, uh, you know, basically basically the 100 year. We can argue what happens in those last 4 or 5 years, but basically another 100 years to get full citizenship, right?
Right, right, straight up.
And so then you got the hypocrisy with immigration, right? That we want you
Right.
to come over here and work for us, but we
Huh.
going to make it arduous and hard for you to become citizens because we want to keep you in that position, right?
Uh-huh. Straight up. Oh, no, no, no,
You
no, no. What happened?
are going to be
You went back
used
dog.
because we
You
need
went
to
back
replace
dog.
your labor with the black labor that we have lost over the years, right? And
You
so
went back
now,
dog.
right,
You went back dog.
we had that hypocrisy has been going on since the 60s, the 70s, where it was outward in numbers. So that hypocrisy has been going on for a few years. And now that's the racism side.
Brother, brother,
Now on the
brother.
classism side, right,
Hey E.
we have
Hey
the
E.
hypocrisy where the leader of this country, right, the leader of this country is you can't hear me?
Can't see you. I can hear you. Can't
You
see you.
can't see me?
Can't see you. You doing good. You cooking, but I can't see you. Let me hang up and come back on in. You was doing good,
Testing.
man. Hold on. I can hear you. Can't see you. Can't see you. Can't see you. Hear you. Can't see you. You can't hear me. You can't hear me. So come on back in when you can. All right, cool. He was making some extremely valid points. You know, I hated the fact when we just got to roll with the punches. We ain't gonna never give up on making sure we give you uh, great content and let it come to you how it fall out. So anyway, I got another book I wanted to share with you before you come back in because I don't want to lessen the value of the show. But then you got this book right here. It's called Marked. You know, race, crime, and finding work in an era of incarceration, of misincarceration. 8 years back on. Let me get it back in the show. All right, you
Can
bet,
I
my brother.
can I finish this point? I know you went on
Yes,
to
please.
another point,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
let
yeah,
me
yeah, yeah,
finish
yeah.
this
Go
point.
ahead. Yes,
The
please do.
last thing now that we have, right, on the classism side, we have on the racism side of what's going on with Latinos and blacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the classism side now, right, you have another class of second class citizens, right? These are the convicted felons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got jobs, you got places you can't live, you got all of these different things, right? You even got certifications now that you can't get, certain fields you can't go into, right?
That's right.
But at the same time, here's the hypocrisy. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, the president of this country has been convicted of 34 felonies.
That's a fact.
And so the real and the prime example of that hypocrisy is you can't go into the military with a bunch of felonies. But
No.
the chief, right?
Let me.
The
Yeah.
commander in chief of the military, who has the ultimate say
Woo!
on the military, everyone in the military works for him basically, has 34 felonies.
Let me add to that account simply
The
because we're talking
hypocrisy has
about
not stopped. It
we
continues.
just want to add to that. We just want to add a tidbit to that. Hold on. Interview based on ethnographic accounts, turning from perspectives of employers and experiences of the job seekers to research, using in-depth interviews, ethnographic, a method based on detail, firsthand observation provides rich and textured accounts of some of the struggles ex-offenders experience as they attempt to reestablish life and jobs on the outside. Mercer Sullivan's study on the youth involvement in the crime of work, for example, is based on in-depth interviews and extensive observation on the lives of communities of roughly views of extensive observation on the lives of communities and oh 40 views, okay, 40 black, Hispanic, and white youth find some direct evidence of their harmful efforts of criminal sanctions. Indeed, several of the young men in his study experienced employment difficulties that appeared to be difficult related to the criminal justice involvement. Jasper Cruz lost one job that is held for a year after his employment and found that he had been in jail. Miguel uh, Torrado lost 4 jobs in a context of 6 months period during which he had made weekly court appearances. He did not want to tell his employers that he had to go to court and could not otherwise explain his absences. These cases both pointed to the stigma that disturbs counts of the criminal justice interview interventions. Through others, young men in Sullivan's study were able to find work through ex-offender employment services on personal networks through who did not access to such resources, struggling to find steady jobs. Other studies, while not focused primarily on the experiences of ex-offenders, had touched on themes of crime and employment and emerged in the lives of their subjects. Most of the 26 young black men on Alfred Young interview-based study had experienced bruises with the law, the effects of what young men had cruisings for their future job prospects. Nothing created as a great, nothing created as a stigma for them to possess, for them, for than possession of a criminal record. Each knew very well that the record was a severe detriment to fine work. Likewise, Michael Denera, study of maintaining study of mainly unhoused street vendor in New York City documented the importance of a criminal injustice system in the lives of a man he studied more than a third of whom has spent time in a federal prison of drug related crimes. Denier explained after the completion of their sentences, they are released and come directly to the streets. In most cases, family ties have been shattered by their past behavior. Neither state nor federal prison or organized to help ex-cons, ex-convicts make smooth transitions into their homes and jobs. With few resources at their disposal, many of these men make their way to the streets, groveling together as substance as sustained as an informant couch. Their accounts, often thick description of their subjects, live in helping piece together stories of numerous interconnected threats. The richness of ethnographic work provides nuances and detail that help of us visualize the complicated pathways of any individual life. At the same time, however, this complexities rule out simple conclusions about the impact of a single factor. Sullivan, for example, emphasizes the detrimental efforts of formal criminal sanctions, while at the same time acknowledging that many personal characteristics also impede of offenders' chances of finding and keeping a job. They find themselves hampered by the involvement of crime in the criminal justice system and by the personal habits and developments during the years of being out of work, out of school, on the streets. Likewise, Denier is appropriately cautious in drawing conclusions about the rocky path of prisoner reentry. After considering the harmful absence of social services available to men leaving prison, he cautions at the same time, we must also acknowledge some uncertainty as that the extent of which those structural forces are determinative in the outcome of any life. I had to read that extensively. I had to read that extensively. Um, I lost my camera, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I lost my shit, but hey, whatever, man. We still gonna go on and come back. Um, what I was explaining is, you know, with that, you have to understand when people. Let me see if I get back to my camera. All right, I'm back to my camera. So, can you hear me, AE? We good? Hold
Yes.
on. Oh, you can hear me? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Uh, I want you to expound upon that before I go, because I got something to say. But that was a lot. That was an extensive reading. I know we're going on a little longer than normal, but I want you to go ahead and give your piece on that extensive reading that I just gave to the public.
Well, I'm going to yield to you, but I want to just say quickly, this is what we just discussed a few minutes ago, right?
Yes.
Not only just the purpose, but the overall effects, right? And what is happening in totality that this happens to. Go ahead and take it from there and expand on it a little bit more.
All right, let me go ahead and go out and come back in. Go out and come back in. We can't see you again. We can hear you, can't see you. All right, so my peoples, this is what I wanted to explain to you guys with reading that, my interpretation. See, it's quite simple. You want to create a problem, you want to make people a problem, you want to say that these people are just atrocious and terrible and awful and all of these despicable things and outlandish ways of viewing a people that you have never completely left the fuck alone. It's a big difference. See, the thing is, when you don't have a prison industrial complex because it's not necessary, when you don't perpetuate ways to make people criminals, and the thing that what's going on with the current president right now is the same thing that has always been done. So it's history repeating itself within the elements of how this country exists. AE, can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. You got a problem again. I gotta. AE. Turn him off. He's doing other things. He'll come back in when he's you know, he'll come back in. I can hear you, can't see you. So, he'll come back in when he can. But we're about to wrap the show up. It's been a great show. I hope you guys learned something, understood, where I was coming from. With New Discovery Show, current events, that even the current events that happen in your daily lives and how they affect you. And we are affected. So that's why we in this thing. We have to continuously learn. Uh-oh, I'm fucking up now. That's why we continue to have to learn, grow. I think it's a little fucking right now. I don't think it's my mic. I think it's cut my see what's happening. Alright. Refresh this shit again. Yeah, hey, you gonna come back in. Alright, let me get back on the camera. Yeah, we're gonna see if AE gonna come back in. We almost about an hour. We almost up anyway, but we also want to make it a good closing. You understand what I'm saying? Like we always want to close out on a good note. So if you come back in, dope. All is well, all is good. But check it out. New discoveries. All right, I'm gonna finish the show, guys. Let me give a thumbs up. You have some complications. All right, y'all. But check it out. Be thorough with your discoveries. Always discover a new way to be you, discover new parts of you so that you can overcome those things as well. Never let nothing defeat you. Uh, I can cook it. Never let nothing defeat you. Um, anything that shells you, come out of it. Overcome things that you can, and always be ready to take on new challenges that are better for you and better for your way of life. In a good way. You understand what I'm saying? So check it out, man. Um, you can never be too self-assured. You have to keep reassuring your words. It's that self-development that you never can stop putting energy, time, and effort into. You don't ever want to lose you once you got you. Check it out. That's the show tonight, people. I love you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for allowing me to share with you some of my vulnerabilities. But it's all good, though. It's all good. We get stronger. We get better. We get to know each other. We keep moving forward. So anyway, check it out. Thank you for tuning in to Danny D, and thank you, Dr. AE, for tuning in to the Willis podcast and being an alumni. My partner, man, it's my dog. You know what I'm saying? We do a good job together. We disagree, we agree. We come on this show to show you that even intellectuals have different perspectives. And a lot of times the reason why we do this is because we share a lot in common at the same time. So always be mindful, man. It's always good to expand. Ridiculing is just your insecurities peeking through. So that's the show tonight. I love you. I thank you so much for tuning in. So share, like, subscribe, keep tuning in to the Will This Podcast. That's where we love you guys to do so. We thank you. Thank you so much. We thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you again. Might not be tonight, but we keep coming on when we feel like we need to speak with you. So come on, say it with me. You know what it is, you know what time it is. The will is yours. Be cool, take it easy, be safe.